Yeah, hi all, good afternoon. So, today's topic is place of supply of services specific to the domestic thing. So, in yesterday's session, we have seen place of supply of goods where it was covered for domestic as well as import and export by Jitender. So, today it is specific to the services and more specific to the domestic transactions. So, how to determine between domestic and export also we'll see in our next things. So basically, this entire session has been planned into these four areas. First thing is why this place reading the place of supply is important under GST, and what are the key terms we have to understand before getting into that determining the place of supply, and then we'll get into the provisions. We'll understand one by one all the provisions, and during the discussion of provisions only, we'll be polling some questions. So please do answer so that we can understand the understanding of the listeners and we can reiterate if any point needs to be repeated. Then at the end of the session, we can have some question and answers time. So where you can post your questions and we'll try to answer along with Maninder sir. So coming to the sections, Section 12 of IGST Act and Section 13 of IGST Act deals with the place of supply of services related provisions. So Section 12 says this is applicable only for the cases where location of supplier of services as well as location of recipient of services both are in India. And Section 13 says this is applicable if any of them, either of them are outside India, then you come to Section 13. So today's topic is for the cases where both location of supplier as well as location of recipient are in India. So which is covered in Section 12. We are going to deal with that Section 12 today, and Section 13 will be taken in the next session. So basically, why this place of supply is so important. So yesterday we have seen a few points highlighted by Jitender sir. So along with that, I have made one or two additions. So first point is levy of that GST. So to determine the levy, both the levy sections says levy section under CGST, SGST or IGST says if the transaction is an intrastate supply, if the transaction is an interstate supply, then the levy section continues in that way. So for the transactions to be levied under for taxation under GST, it should either come into intrastate or it should come into interstate. And how to decide whether a particular transaction is intrastate or interstate is being dealt in section 7 and 8, which will be covered in a later point of time where there is a session by Venkat Prasad which says important topics of IGST Act. So there it will be covered in detail. But for our basic understanding, if location of supplier and place of supply are in India, in same state, then it is a intrastate supply. If location of supplier and place of supply are in different state, then it is a interstate supply. And all exports and imports should be treated as interstate supplies. That is the basic provisions which are there in 7 and 8. Then to determine a particular transaction is export or not. Specific to the export of services I am talking. So there is a separate definition for export of service, which says for a transaction being an export of service, supplier should be in India, recipient outside India, foreign currency should be received. All these are okay. These are generally satisfied conditions everywhere. Other key condition is place of supply should be outside India. So in that way also, this is one of the key factors. And the nature of supply, as we have discussed just now, to determine whether it is interstate or intrastate, place of supply is required. Depending on that only, the CGST, SGST or IGST will be charged. And depending on CGST, SGST and IGST, along with the place of supply, the state which should get the revenue also will be determined. So if we are charging we are in Telangana, we are charging IGST and paying IGST to the government. So to which state that IGST revenue should be given? That will be determined based on the place of supply we are giving in our GSTR 1. So if we give place of supply as Karnataka, state portion will go to Karnataka state. If we give place of supply as Tamil Nadu, the state portion of that IGST will go to Tamil Nadu. So in that aspect also, just by determining whether it is same state or different state, or determining between CGST, SGST and IGST is not sufficient. We have to decide specific state to which that revenue should go. That is because that is rooted through this place of supply. So this, that is also one of the conditions. And then ITC eligibility. So there is nowhere it is specified like if the place of supply is in your state, then only you will get your input credit. But indirectly, there is a inbuilt condition in the law. All the state law says you will get credit for respective states input tax only. So for Telangana state SGST Act, it says you will be eligible for credit of Telangana SGST. It won't say like any SGST you will be eligible to claim the credit. So in this way, there is an inbuilt condition in the law. And even if we look at the forms like GSTR2 or new Annex 2, whatever the demo things they had given, or in August 2017, whatever the Annex 2 GSTR2 we have seen, if the place of supply of any of our purchases is in different supply, like if you can see it in your GSTR2 now, if it is in different state, automatically the option of availing the credit will be blocked. So if the place of supply is in different state, we will not be eligible for the credit. For whatever the transactions we are making, we have to ensure the transaction is rooted in such a way that we'll get the place of supply in our state and will be eligible for that entire credit. So depending on all those factors, it is like place of supply is the key determinant for this GST Act. And coming to the provisions, place of supply related provisions, it is broadly classified into general rule and specific provisions. So general rule says like if it is B2B, then it is location of recipient. If it is B2C, if you have location of recipient, address of recipient, go to that. If you don't have address of recipient, you consider your location of supplier as place of supply. But this general rule should be applied only if the service is not covered in any of the specific provisions. So this general rule in subsection 2 and the specific provisions runs from subsection 3 to 14. So around 12 clauses are there which specifically determines the place of supply. So out of these 12 specific clauses, around 6 clauses says if the recipient is registered, then location of recipient is the place of supply. So we'll be dealing each of these services differently. And in few cases, if the service is provided in multiple locations, so if the or any particular service is providing at a time in running into multiple locations, then government law has given a mechanism to determine as to how the place of supply should be determined. So those things also will be looking in detail. But before getting into any of the provisions, so provisions determining the place of supply, we have to understand few key terms. So what are those few key terms which determines the place of supply of services? So first you should understand what is the type of service. So because they have categorized some specific services and they are given place of supply for that specific category of services. So first you have to understand the service, which category it falls in, and then who is the supplier, who is the recipient, and what is the place of performance, and who is the actual beneficiary, and what is the location of that actual beneficiary, and what is the location of recipient, what is the location of service provider. All these factors collectively will help you in making a decision with respect to place of supply. So let us understand these key factors also. What is meant by supplier, what is meant by recipient, what is meant by location of supplier, what is meant by location of recipient, which are specifically defined in the law. So this supplier and recipient are defined in the CGST Act, where it says supplier, simply it says in relation to goods or services, that's a common thing. Person supplying those goods or services will be the supplier of service. And it also says it includes the agent. If there is any agent who is supplying services on behalf of you, then If there is any agent supplying services on behalf of a supplier, that will also be treated as the original person who is supplying the goods or services. And then coming to the recipient definition varies between the goods and services. So on the first leg, if the consideration is payable, then it is common. Person who is paying the consideration or who is liable to pay that consideration, not paying, person who is liable to pay that consideration will be the recipient. And if no consideration is required to be paid for the transaction, then person to whom the service is rendered, so that person will be treated as the recipient of the service. So here supplier and recipient are defined, and apart from this, location of supplier of service and recipient of service are different. So those are defined in IGST Act. So what does it say? Location of supplier of service. So once you have decided supplier of service as well as recipient of service, now they are saying this particular supplier, whomever you have identified, if if he is supplying the service from his registered place of business, then you treat that registered place as location of supplier. If he is not providing any service from the registered place, he is providing service from any other fixed establishment, then you have to treat that fixed establishment's location as location of supplier of services. And if it is made from more than one establishment, you are supplying from multiple establishments to the same person, then the supply should be treated as with supplier should be treated as the person or that location, that establishment. Sorry. So whichever is the establishment most directly concerned, that establishment should be treated as the that establishment's location should be treated as the location of supplier of service. In any other cases, usual place of residence of the supplier should be considered as location of supplier of service. In majority of the cases, it will be covered under the first thing. So registered place of business. Whenever there is a differentiation, we have to go through all these provisions and we have to determine the location of supplier properly. And location of recipient of service. So if most of the definition, most of the part in this definition is same, except for the fact it says supply made from, or in recipient's definition it says supply received it. If the supply received at registered place of business, then such place, multiple locations most directly concerned, other cases usual place of residence of the recipient. So this is almost replica of that location of supplier definition with the small change in receiving perspective. Okay, so let us get into the provisions part. So now, as I mentioned earlier, section 12 for place of supply of services is applicable only for the cases where location of supplier of services and location of supplier of recipient are in India. So I did not refer to any of the sections here. So I have, if anyone is referring the act, the provisions are in the same order in which the act is there. So it starts with the immovable property related and it continues in the same order in which the act is there. So I did not reproduce the entire act part here. I had reproduced the relevant parts which is easy to understand. So coming to the place of supply related to immovable property. So although we commonly refer as immovable property, in this subsection, place of supply related to boats as well as vessel is also being covered. It says professional services directly related to that immovable property. What are these professional services directly related to immovable property? So they are given some examples there. It is like person architect could be there, person who is a real estate agent or estate agent, they say. So all those people who are directly engaged in relation to that immovable property, all those people will related services will be location at which the immovable property or boat or vessel is located or intended to be located. What is this intended to be located? Now some architect is there. So I'm going to plan some immovable property in Hyderabad, or it could be in Chennai, or it could be in Bangalore. So whichever the location I am intending to locate, as on date there is no immobile property, but I'm taking a service from an architect. So whichever the place I am intending to locate that property, that location will be treated as place of supply, although there is no immobile property as on date. So similarly, the other part of the definition, services provided by way of grant of rights to use immobile property or for carrying out or coordination of construction work. So it could be construction work, or it could be right to use. Right to use could be renting of immobile property, or for carrying out of instruction could be our JDS, or coordination of construction work. So for all these things also, place of supply will be place at which the immobile property or vessel is located or intended to be located. Then by way of lodging accommodation. So this is what we say: hotel, guest house, inn and all. So most of us would have already seen. So if we go to any hotel and if we get the bill, almost all the cases the bill is with CGST and SGST, because the place of supply is the location at which the building or hotel is located. So that is related to by way of lodging and accommodation. Then the next thing, by way of accommodation for organizing any function. So by way of accommodation for organizing any function is different. By way of lodging accommodation is different. So specifically for organizing any function, for example, there is a marriage event, wedding event, for which you are going to stay there for 2-3 days. So along with that functional, he is also giving you some banquet hall. He is also giving you some extra rooms, 6 rooms for male and 6 rooms for bride and groom and something like that. Then all those cases also, for all that service, location of property will be treated as the place of supply. And here they say, including services provided in relation to such function. So whichever the function they are there to organize, if there is any additional service provided by the supplier in relation to that function, maybe he is arranging shamiana, he is arranging some other facilities there in relation to that function, all those services also should, for all those services also, place of supply should be treated as the location at which that property is located. And the last part is residuary, any services ancillary to the above list. So almost all the services related to the immobile property are covered in this, but they are given one exception. What is that exception? So generally we call it as a proviso. So proviso, nothing but I had mentioned as exception. If the property or boat or vessel is intended to be located outside India, so supplier and this provision is applicable only for the cases where supplier and recipient are in India. They are saying supplier and recipient could be in India, but if property is intended to be located outside India, then place of supply shall be the location of recipient. So primary condition, supplier and recipient should be in India, then only this provision will be applicable. If the property is outside India, they are saying don't go for location of property. You should consider place of supply as the location of recipient who is in India. His location should be treated as the place of supply. And they are, further they are given an explanation. What they say, if the property or boat or vessel is located in more than one state or union territory. For example, immobile property could be anything. It could be a rail track, it could be a road line, it could be a pipeline. If a road line is running from state Telangana to AP or Telangana to Tamil Nadu or Bangalore, so the it will not be bifurcated like, okay, up to Tamil Nadu border you do, after Tamil Nadu border we will allocate to other person. The highways are generally allocated on a kilometer basis. It will not be or packaged on a kilometer basis, not based on state or territory or anything. So then if at all, what they are saying, if at all the immobile property is located in more than one state or union territory, place of supply should be in each state or union territory. What? How can we take multiple states or union territory for one amount? So they say No, you should bifurcate the amount also. So you should bifurcate the amount in proportion to the value separately collected or determined in terms of the contract. If your contract has sufficient grounds to determine how much is the portion relevant for state A, how much is the portion relevant for state B, you bifurcate the amounts in that specific portions, and for that state A related portion, you consider place of supply as state B, and state B related for state A related portion, you consider place of supply as state A. For state B related portion, you consider place of supply as state B. If at all your contract does not provide anything in such fashion, we will prescribe the method to bifurcate the amounts in particular fashion. You have to bifurcate in that particular fashion and determine the place of supply accordingly. But so far, there are no specific notifications or rules which says like in this way you have to bifurcate the contract, in that way you have to bifurcate the contract. Generally, if we see, if this, for an example, if I take, if the amount charged or whatever the amount determined is based on the number of kilometers of the road covered, we can split the amounts depending on the length of the road covered in state Telangana. We have to consider that place of supply as Telangana, and for the remaining part of the road which is running in Karnataka, we have to consider it as Karnataka. And if in between, if AP is coming, that particular portion we have to consider as place of supply as AP. Okay. Then, so here I had given the examples of services covered in this immobile property related topic, related provision. So all these are general examples which I had mentioned while reading the topic. And below are the poll questions. So poll questions shall be posted by sir, as well as for easy reference I had mentioned here. So when we say, Pankaj sir.
Tell me, I'm here.
Sir, can we post that first question, sir?
For question number 1, na?
Yes,
is
sir.
this 1 second? First, A Builder Bangalore, no?
Yes, sir.
I posted.
Yes, sir.
I request all of you to kindly answer the question. Okay, answering right or wrong does not matter here. But if you can just answer, it will be easy for speaker and the moderator to check and correct you if your majority of the people are thinking, or even if some people are thinking otherwise, the speaker can justify what he is thinking about.
It's a question where the builder supplier is in Karnataka.
Yeah. So first,
and architect is Karnataka.
Yeah. Do you
Yes,
want
sir.
me to give that also?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'm ending this polling and I'm sharing the result. You just see that if builder Bangalore and B is architect, site of construction Hyderabad, then 31 people say it's Telangana and 6 people are saying it's Karnataka. And can you just tell why not Karnataka?
Yeah, so it is like the provision clearly says the place of supply shall be the location of immobile property. So irrespective of the supplier's location, irrespective of the recipient location, supplier could be Bangalore and recipient could also be in Bangalore, but site of construction, it is going to be in Hyderabad. So that is why location of the immobile property located or intended to be located, it could be both, that should be considered as a place of supply, and it is Hyderabad. Site of construction is Hyderabad, so place of supply should be Telangana.
So I'm just launching the second poll. L&T Hyderabad develop Hyderabad to Tirupati.
Yes, sir.
NHA has allotted work to L&T Limited, Hyderabad, develop a highway from Hyderabad to Tirupati. Contract value is determined based on the distance covered. Now, what is the place of supply?
So Hyderabad to Tirupati, it is covering multiple states, AP and Telangana. So whether it will be AP or Telangana, or both, or it is not covered under?
Proportion or yeah, I think we got sufficient answers, and rather than selling why it is not uh, based on this proportion, I think rather than you justify why again TS and AP in proportion to distance covered, it just serves as a revision for other between 3, 5, 6 people.
Okay.
Okay, this is how the result went.
Okay,
Sorry.
sir.
Okay, sure. I'm just stop sharing and you take over.
Yes, sir. So now, uh, as per this explanation what they are given, if a particular property or a boat or vessel, property means immobile property, is located in more than one state. So in this particular question, the roadway is going all the way from Hyderabad to Tirupati. So partially it is located in Telangana and partially it is located in Andhra Pradesh. So in those cases, it should be taken in proportion of the value related to Telangana. Place of supply should be Telangana. In proportion of the value related to AP road, place of supply should be AP. So for same transaction, there will be two different place of supply. To that extent of Telangana value, one place of supply. To the extent of Tirupati value, sorry, AP value, other place of supply should be taken. So answer should be C, in proportion to Telangana and AP, the extent of the road.
Yeah. Shall I go to next question? ICA
Yes,
Delhi.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So Delhi ICAI Delhi registered office has issued work order to L&T, who is also registered in Delhi, but the office is to be constructed in Dubai. I'm not sure if we are owning any office already there, but in such case, what will be the place of supply?
Yeah. It's 45 seconds. I'll stop polling and share results because the answers are quite different. Vamshi, yeah, because you see 25 people say Delhi, 11 say Dubai, and 5 say not covered. So because there are 16 people who have talked differently than the 25 people, I request you to come back once again.
Yes, sir. So again, this specific thing, so as a general rule, it is location of immobile property. That is fine. But there is an exception for that. So what is that exception? That exception says if the supplier and recipient are in India, but the location of property is outside India, then in such case, place of supply should be location of the recipient. So in uh, present case, ICII is in Delhi as well as L&T is also in Delhi. Location of property is outside India. So in such case, place of supply should be location of the recipient, which is ICII Delhi. So place of supply should be Delhi only. So it cannot be any location of the property. So these two are the exceptions we can say. Second is the exception. Third is like a small deviation in proportion they say. So these two also we should remember while remembering this.
Yeah. So I think the fourth poll would make it still interesting. I'm launching the fourth question.
Yes. Now the change is ICII Delhi is placing order on L&T Dubai to construct office in Dubai.
Unlike in earlier place, here the supplier has got the registered office in the place of location of service. Yeah. So I think we have got some goals again. Maybe I'm just sharing the results. I'm sharing the results.
Yeah. So here again, majority is going wrong. So I'm not sure the reason. The difference between the previous question and present question is, in the previous question, I have mentioned ICI Delhi as well as L&T Delhi and properties outside India, which is covered by this exception. So in the present question, I have mentioned ICI is in India, L&T, so who is the supplier, actual supplier, L&T is outside India and property is also outside India. So if supplier is in India and recipient is outside India, then it is not covered by section 12. So it is covered by section 13. Okay. So if supplier and recipient both are in India, then only it is covered under section 12. So correct answer for the present question is outside. Sorry, this is not. This provision doesn't cover the specific transaction of supplier in India and recipient outside India, irrespective of the location of property.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll continue to the next question. Sorry, next.
Next poll, shall I go or polling 5? Or next
No,
topic?
sir. Yeah, polling 5 is related to next topic.
Yeah,
so let us get into the
I'm
next.
just right. So carry on.
Yes, sir. So let us get into the next provision. This is related to restaurants, catering, as well as personal grooming services. What does it say? So for all restaurant and catering services, place of supply should be the place where the services are actually performed. Sir, someone has mentioned to repeat the last point. I'm not sure which is that one. Yeah. So I'm sorry for the
put in chat what point you wanted to be, because it's anonymous. I think Venkatraju Gupta Kolepalli raised hand. So if the anonymous attendee is assuming Gupta sir, I'm just allowing him to talk. Gupta sir, you can talk. Hello?
Vamshi?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It is actually not my question. It was mistakenly I touched this hand symbol. So if somebody is raised the question, means ask them to raise again. It was not mine.
No problem, sir. No problem. Okay.
Yeah. So assuming that yes, sir. Assuming that last point is where supplier is in India, recipient is outside India. Supplier is outside India. L&T Dubai will be the supplier who is going to construct an office for us. So that supplier is outside India, and ICI Delhi is the recipient who is asking L&T to construct the building for them. So recipient is in India. So if supplier is outside India, recipient is in India, that particular topic is outside the purview of section 12. It should be dealt in section 13. So assuming that the message is about the last question, they are repeating that question. So that's why the answer should be not covered in this provision.
Yeah, and just a second, Vivek Narasimham had also raised the hand. And Vivek, you'd like to say anything? One second, I'm just, Vivek, you're able to talk? Sorry. Can you just put in chat, Vivek? No problem. Yeah, continue, Vamshi. Continue.
Okay, sir. Yeah. So the second provision in this is restaurant, catering, and personal grooming services. So let us talk about this restaurant and catering first. So for restaurant as well as outdoor or indoor catering services, what they are saying is place of supply should be considered as a place where the services are actually performed. So here also there is no concern between the location of supplier or location of recipient. They are saying wherever you are providing that service, so actual performance wherever it is happening, only that location should be considered as place of supply. So if the supplier could be any of our famous restaurants, Paradise Biryani is here. So Paradise is supplying the biryani things to Delhi for a special guest coming from abroad, maybe from US or someone else. So if Paradise is catering all its products there in Delhi, so the place of supply should be Delhi, irrespective of the fact the product is being uh, developed here or whatever. Place of actual performance is in Delhi, so Delhi should be considered as the place of supply. Okay, then personal grooming, fitness, beauty treatment, healthcare service, including cosmetic and plastic surgery. So for all these type of services also, place of supply should be place where the services are actually performed. So wherever the recipient is coming from or wherever the supplier is coming from, all these things are immaterial for this specific provision, similar to previous provision. So supplier location and recipient location are not material. Place where the supply is happening, so only that particular location is material here. So according to that only we have to determine the place of supply. So all our restaurants, caterers, gyms, beauty salons, or hospitals. So all these things will be covered under this category. All those people's services will be covered under this particular category. So again, here also there are some poll questions. Sir, if you can put that question number 5, Chetnis. So Chetnis Hyderabad is catering for a wedding ceremony in Pankaj sir. Pankaj sir.
No, sorry, I had muted it here. Sorry, I'm here.
Fine, sir. Yeah, Chetnis Hyderabad is catering for a wedding ceremony in Bangalore. So, what will be the place of supply of service?
I think the one person who just pressed Telangana was also by mistake. So I think we'll stop the poll. Very unanimously, we are going. Okay, so I'll just share the result. It's Karnataka.
Yes, sir. Place of performance. So, it should be Karnataka. And the next question also you can also.
Yeah, I'm doing.
So, the next question is American hospital has sent their patient for surgery in Hyderabad Yashoda. So, amount received from patient in USD. Amount is received in USD and hospital is in Telangana and patient has come from America. So what will be the place of supply? Where it is Telangana or it is outside India like America, or it is not covered in this provision at all.
So 45 seconds. I just end the polling. I'm sharing the result. Well, the majority says Telangana. Still 5 people at least believe that it's not covered in the provision. So if you can just share.
Yeah. So this is the expected poll, and it has been put intentionally. The five people who had put that least count is the valid answer, and the majority has gone wrong here. So this I just wanted to highlight to you. Before determining place of supply, you have to determine the location of supplier and location of recipient, and then only you have to get into this place of supply. In general situation, if he is coming from any place other than Telangana and getting a treatment done here, that is fine. So if a person is coming from outside India or some American hospital or American patient is coming here, first you have to see whether that location of recipient is in India or is outside India. So because without that everything will easily say Telangana, Telangana. So I just wanted to test the observation thing. You have to determine the location of recipient.
So
So what does it say?
The location was in Telangana only, you know. Here the
Location
supply,
of recipient. Yeah, just a minute, sir.
Okay,
So
sorry.
when you are determining this recipient thing, you have to see where a consideration is payable, person who is liable to pay. So that patient is the one who is liable to pay the amount. And if the supply is received at a registered place of business, so he doesn't have a place of business, he doesn't have any establishment, he doesn't have any of these first three cases, so then it will fall into that fourth case, usual place of residence of the recipient. So that usual place of residence falls outside India for an American. Okay. So then location of recipient is outside India. So if location of supplier or location of recipient are outside India, then that is not covered under this specific section. Okay. So that should be dealt in section 13.
I'm launching the next poll.
Yes, sir. So in this question, the small change is in previous question, patient is the one who is paying the amount. In the present question, American hospital is the one who is paying the amount.
Sorry, I think previous question, the hospital paid. In this question, the amount is received from patient in US dollars.
Okay, fine.
Surgery in Telangana, received money in Telangana, but the patient is outside India.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm just ending the polling.
I presume that the patient is usually located in US. Okay, I think poll
Yes,
also
sir.
got ended.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
patient is usually presumed to be outside India.
Yes, sir. So actually, like the explanation for this third question is also similar to last question, previous question. American hospital or American patient, assuming patient is also outside India, like from US, usual place of residence is US. So the location of recipient will be outside India, which is resulting in coverage in section 13, not in section 12. So not covered in this provision is the answer for both 2 and 3. So you should be careful while determining the location of recipient and place of supply in cases where like foreign transactions or foreign people are involved.
See, one second, I'm just stopping you because one Krishna Sanidhi is saying that he
Yes,
could
sir.
not understand the difference between the two questions. I think in the first question, the American hospital paid, and in the second, the patient paid the money. Is that the difference?
Yeah, that is the only difference, but that doesn't change the answer. Hospital could be an establishment which is outside India. So location of recipient is the outside India, and individual is not a establishment. Just a minute, sir. I'll just go to that specific slide and explain.
I'm just stopping sharing the result so that you can see.
Yes, sir. So now when we say location of recipient, so here first it will talk about the establishment. If there is no establishment, no place of business, then it's a usual place of residence of the recipient. So since the hospital is an establishment, it will be covered under this first three categories. Since the individual is not an establishment, it will be covered under this last category. Okay. So as such, location of supplier or location of recipient may not have much of importance, but when we come to place of supply, this location of supplier and location of recipient are meant to be deciding that place of supply. Okay, so that is the difference between last two questions. One is related to establishment, one is other case. Yes, sir. Any other things? Sir?
In fact, just one, I think Srinivasan sir has raised hand. Sir, I think yes, sir. I think you can talk, sir. Srinivasan sir.
You go to the slide what you are showing. The slide you are showing about the supply received at.
The slide.
Yeah, supply received at. Why it is not covered in the point number 2?
A place other than registered place
Ah.
of business, a fixed
Isn't it?
establishment elsewhere.
This patient is receiving in the place other than his registered place of business.
No, it should be that person's establishment, sir, not any establishment.
No, person's establishment is not.
Hello. Sorry, sir. Could you speak little louder?
I got your point. Okay. Can you show me the supply if the from the location of the supplier of service? That slide.
Okay.
Supply is made from registered place of business, location of such a place. Okay. So this you mean to say supply is in India, but recipient will be not located in India.
Yes,
That's
sir.
why it's
Exactly.
not within this section. That's your
Yes, sir.
contention.
Exactly.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So, in general scenario, this is a simple provision. I just wanted to complicate it intentionally to give the impact of this location of supplier and recipient. Let us proceed to the next section. Actually, next subsection, training and performance appraisal services. So here it simply says, if you are providing this training and appraisal services to a registered person, then location of such registered person should be treated as a place of supply, no other questions. So wherever you are performing that activity, all these questions are not relevant. Recipient is registered, go to place of supply and fill his place as registered, his place as place of supply. And in any other cases, if at all the recipient is not a registered person, then you have to go for the actual performance thing again. So like previous slide, place where the services are actually performed in restaurant catering. Here also training and performance also, if it is being provided to an unregistered person, then it should be a place where the services are actually performed. So in this specific provision, all the type of trainings like online as well as offline trainings are also being covered. For example, the current webinar which is running is also being covered under this provision. So place of supply to a registered person. So wherever you are, like if the audit firm who has registered or person who has registered for this webinar is also registered under GST, location of that person. So it could be mostly we may have people from Hyderabad and people from like Telangana as well as AP. So if someone is registered in AP, that AP should be the place of supply. If someone is registered in Telangana, that Telangana will be the place of supply. If any one of you or like any of the people who have not registered under GST have registered for this webinar and paid their 2000 rupees fees or whatever. So for that particular person, place of supply should be determined as the place where the services are actually performed, which is again from Telangana. So since the services are being performed in Telangana, place of supply shall be Telangana for all the B2C sales. So if at all there is a B2B sale, if the recipient is outside Telangana, that respective state should be considered as place of supply. Okay. Then apart from training, one more activity covered here is performance appraisal. So performance appraisal is a general thing which is being outsourced in the MNCs or software companies, where they'll have the specific criteria. There will be a guiding document and there will be a goal setting done at the beginning of the every financial year or every quarter. So depending on that goal setting and against that goal setting, whatever the achievement that employee has made, an external person will come and assess their performance and they will give the rating. So to make it more objective, nowadays people are outsourcing this activity. So such performance appraisal services, if anyone is doing, so all those performance appraisal services provided to registered person will be the location of such registered person. If at all it is located, supplied to any unregistered person, place where the services actually performed will be the place of supply. Okay. Yes, sir. We can have this next poll question, sir.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm just a minute.
So the question will be faculty located in Hyderabad and he is teaching for students who are located in Hyderabad and Vijayawada. So here, since it is mentioned as students, basic assumption is all the students are unregistered and the faculty is registered under GST. So what will be the place of supply? Will it be Telangana or Andhra Pradesh or proportionate in the number of students or not covered in this provision at all?
Yeah, I'm ending the poll and sharing results as under. Okay, and Vamshi, how different it would be if instead of students you have members and say majority of the members are registered under GST.
Yes, sir. So members related, the current webinar example which I have taken. So members, if they are registered under GST, which are the location they are registered in? If someone is registered in AP and who they have paid amount for this webinar, then place of supply should be AP. If someone is registered in Karnataka, place of supply will be Karnataka. And if anyone is not registered, then place of supply is place from where these are actually performed. That is our branch. So that is Hyderabad.
So
And
8 people.
same thing applicable for this poll also. So where there is no provision which says it should be in proportion to the students. So as I said, all the students are unregistered. So place of supply will be the place where the services are actually performed. So it should be location where the services are actually performed, which is Hyderabad, where the faculty is located. So Hyderabad, Telangana should be considered as the place of supply. Hope it is clear for all. So faculty is located in Hyderabad, Telangana should be the place of supply. And the proportion thing should be taken only for the cases where the law specifically says, okay, in this case, you take it in proportion. So otherwise, on our own judgment, we should not go for any proportion things. Yeah, next question, sir. Some XYZ company has registration in Delhi. They have hired a CA in Hyderabad like me. They are asking me to train their teams located in Hyderabad, Chennai, as well as Bangalore. So in such cases, if I am issuing an invoice to that XYZ Limited, what should be the place of supply? Whether it should be my location or it should be XYZ Limited registered location, or it should be the location where I am going and training the people. I'm going to Hyderabad, Chennai, Bangalore. So whether it should be in that proportion.
I think the key here is the registered person, no?
Yes, sir.
Registration of person in Delhi.
Yes, sir.
So I'm ending the polling because it's almost 1 minute into poll. In fact, the answer was there on the screen itself. So our people are so good, we don't copy.
Yes, sir.
Integrity is proved here. Yeah, please.
If the recipient is registered in Delhi, so the place of supply should be Delhi only. You don't have to think of any other thing. Recipient is registered, place of supply, you lock it there. It is the recipient's registered place. So that is Delhi. So Delhi is the correct answer here. More than 50% people are correct. Proportionate, as I mentioned earlier, proportionate we should not be thinking unless there is any specific provision in the law says like for this service you can go for a proportionate option. Unless we should not go for any proportionate thing. And Hyderabad, place where actually performed would have been correct if it is a unregistered person who is asking me to perform all those services. Even in that case also, if I am doing it online, it could be Hyderabad. But if I am going to particular location, I am going to Hyderabad, I am going to Chennai and deliberating there, it, for that thing, it will be a Chennai, and in that particular way, it should be dealt. Yes, sir. Someone was talking.
I think it's a by mistake, some voice.
Okay, sir. Then let us continue to the next provision. The next is related to the events. So with respect to events, they had given two different type of things. One is admission and then organization and ancillary. So admission is having different perspective than the organization and ancillary things. So first let us see admission to the events. So whenever there is a service of providing admission to an event, that event could be cultural, artistic, sporting or anything, or it could be entrance into an amusement park or any other place ancillary there too. In all those cases, place of supply shall be the place where the event is actually held if it is an event, or if it is an amusement park where the park is located, or any other place whatever they are saying, so that other place is located. So in simple way, wherever there is an admission, whichever you are admitting into that event or park or other place, that respective place should be treated as place of supply. So this is a simple thing, and poll will be collective for this events admission as well as other things. In a simple example, I can say if we are getting into that any theme park like Wonderla, so that what are the service is providing to us by way of admitting us into that Wonderla, whatever the amount he is charging, for that place of supply shall be the location where the park is located. Or if we are conducting any maybe sporting event or anything, or educational, we can even cover our ICI events. So all those cases, wherever the event is being held, if they are charging us some 3000 plus GST, for that GST portion, place of supply should be the location where the event is being held. If it is Hyderabad, it should be Telangana. If it is Bangalore, Karnataka, in that way. Okay. Next, events, organization and ancillary. So organization and ancillary also covers almost all the similar events which are covered earlier, except that amusement park, because there is no organization for that amusement park. So they say cultural, artistics, all these things, including supply of services in relation to a conference, fair, exhibition, celebration or similar events to a registered person. So here also again, if it is to a registered person, no second thought, directly you take that place of registered person as a place of supply. If at all it is a B2C transaction, that recipient is not a registered person, then you have to look at the place of the event. If the event is held in India, then place of event should be taken. If the event is held outside India, then location of recipient should be taken. So as we understand, location of recipient should be in India, then only this provision will be applicable. So if place of location of supplier and location of recipient are in India, but place of event is outside India, in such cases, location of recipient should be taken. Okay, and there is an explanation given for this. If the events are held in more than one state or union territories and a consolidated amount is charged, then the place of supply should be considered as each of such place in proportion to the value separately collected or determined. So here again that proportion things comes up. So here they specifically say the event is being held in more than one state or union territory. So there is a agreement between government as well as ICAI. So government is asking ICAI to go across the country and teach GST to all its department officers, all the central government officers, and they have fixed a amount for that. So for that purpose, when the institute, whatever the amount has been agreed, that should be proportionated into respective states depending on whatever the criteria agreed in the agreement, whichever helps us to determine the proportion. So depending on that, we have to determine the proportion of AP, Telangana, all the different states, and for the respective states, place of supply should be assigned, and then the GST should be charged. Okay. So if at all like that any arrangement is not there in the agreement, in absence of such contract or agreement, the government should prescribe the basis, but till date again there is no such basis which is prescribed by the government. So, and what is the difference between admission and organization of the events? Admission of event is from the others perspective. When you are entering into an event, someone is allowing you to enter into event by paying some amount, and that someone is also organizing an event. So admitting an event is different, and organization of an event is different. The one who is organizing the event may ask someone else also to organize the event. Like ICI conducting their 75th anniversary in a huge way, they have given that event management thing to some external party to manage the entire event. So whatever the external party doing that event management service, that will come under organization of that event. And whatever the ICI doing by collecting amount from the members and allowing them into that event will be the admission of event. So admission into the event. So admission into the event and organization of the event are two different things. That is something which we have to understand. And I had put some examples of the services covered. So what are the dance shows, stage shows, musical programs we come across, and generally we see that in our Ravindra Bharati here. So all those are the events. For that admission and organization, all those things should be determined in accordance with these two subsections. Similarly, for tournaments as well as wedding events, all these party events, for all these things also, the place of supply should be determined according to subsection 6 and 7, which says regarding admission, place where the event is held. Regarding organization and ancillary, it says if it is registered, go to the location of such person. And if it is not registered, we should see the location of the event. If the event is in India, go to location of event. If the event is outside India, then you take it as location of recipient. So, sir, we can take that poll questions.
Done.
So, Arca Media registered in Telangana has asked Shreyas Media registered in AP to conduct pre-release event in US for Prabhas next movie. So for next movie US release, they are going to do a pre-release event there in US. So location of event is outside India. These two people are registered in Telangana. So what is the place of supply for this? And here supplier is Shreyas Media, recipient is Arca Media. So what is that supplier is providing is organization of event.
I'm stopping the poll and I'm sharing the results. I think
So,
you'll have to go a bit deep here with your logic.
yes, sir. So here the simple provision, if the recipient is registered, then location of such person. So in our example, the recipient is registered. Recipient is Arca Media. Supplier is Shreyas Media. Recipient is registered. And is registered in Telangana. So Telangana should be the place of supply. And there is no other logic or anything else for this, sir. Recipient is registered and he is registered in Telangana, so his place should be the place of supply.
Shall I go
Please
for
go.
next ruling?
Yes, sir. Now the recipient is unregistered. So I have just started movie making. So Vamshi Movie Makers, unregistered, who is located in Telangana, had asked Shreyas Media, who is registered in AP, to conduct pre-release event in US for Mahesh Babu's next movie. Being an unregistered, I am producing Mahesh Babu's movie for our example's sake.
Straight away contesting central council election.
Yes, sir. In your language.
our language. For
Our language, sir.
me and you are same now.
Yes, sir. Soon we may see you.
So 17 people say Telangana, 8 AP, outside India 3 and not covered 7. So if you look at the third front, I think majority as last year.
Yes, sir. So now again, I am just explaining the provision. Here, organization of event this is provided to an unregistered person. So I am being an like a recipient being an unregistered person, we should come to this second category. So here it will supplier is registered, recipient is unregistered. Here it will say if the event is held in India, then place of event. If the event is held outside India, then location of recipient. So in our specific question, the place of event is outside India. US pre-release, we are doing the function in US. So location of event is outside India. So that place of supply should be considered as location of recipient, this third category. Okay. It is a B2C transaction and event is outside India. That's why place of supply should be location of recipient. And here specifically, we have said Vamshi is in I'm in Telangana as well as this Shreyas Media is in Telangana. So in this specific case, both are in India. That's why it cannot be something which is not covered under this. So it should be something which is covered under this section 12 and place of supply should be location of recipient, which is Telangana.
Launching the next poll.
ICAI conducting National Summit at Hyderabad. Clear Tax registered in Delhi, sponsoring the event. So ICAI Hyderabad is considering the National Summit and Clear Tax is sponsoring amount for that event. So here the supplier will be ICAI. Recipient is Clear Tax. So Clear Tax is paying money to ICAI. So ICAI has to decide which is the place of supply for the sponsorship service provided by them, which is ancillary to organization of event.
Can all of you see the results, please? Can just couple one or two people can say yes or no in chat. Are you all able to see the results? Yes, thank you. Thank you. Right. Thank you, sir. So the result again, I think Jitendra, there is a Navamshi, sorry. It's a mixed word.
Again, there is
10
a
people
confusion.
definitely need this explanation. So
Yes,
Please
sir.
come back again. Sorry. And I hope Maninder is fine with this extension. What we are repeating. Yeah,
Sir.
just carry on. Vamshi.
Yes, sir. So here, if the recipient is registered place of the recipient should be the place of supply. We don't have to go for any other alternative here. Directly registered place of the recipient. So clear tax is registered in Delhi. So irrespective of the location of supplier, location of uh, registered location of that person should be taken as the place of supply. So which is Delhi. So Hyderabad and other things has no relevance here. Okay, since both supplier and recipient are in Hyderabad, in India, it is very well covered under this provision. So anyway, not covered, no one has put. But in these two things, kindly get this clarification. If it is registered person, you don't have to look for anything. Directly you go for registered person's location. If it is unregistered person, then you have to see whether the location is held in India or outside India. If it is in India, go to place of that event. And if it is outside India, then you have to again come back to the location of recipient. Okay.
Right.
Let us get into the next thing. So here on it should be more easy. Transportation of goods. So regarding transportation of goods, it says like transportation of goods, including mail and courier. For all these services, the place of supply should be, if it is if the recipient is registered person, location of such person. If the recipient is not a registered person, then location at which such goods are handed over for their transportation. So assuming VRL as the supplier, if some registered person who is registered in Telangana is placing an order to VRL to collect goods from Karnataka and deliver in Telangana. So in all such cases, the registered person's location will be the place of supply. Even if that registered person is saying, Hyderabad person is saying, you collect goods in Bangalore and deliver the goods in Chennai or Delhi, wherever it could be, the person who is receiving the supply, that recipient is registered in Telangana. So that location should be considered as the place of supply. If at all that person is not registered, example, whoever is ordering that VRL person is not a registered person, wherever the goods are being handed over to that VRL, if the goods are being handed over to VRL in Bangalore for their further transport to Chennai, then Bangalore, Karnataka should be considered as the place of supply. If the goods are being handed over in midway somewhere in Tamil Nadu, for like Hosur or outskirts of Bangalore, whatever, for the transportation into Chennai, then that wherever it is handed over, only that location should be considered as the place of supply, not the like origin and destination or none of those. Okay, so this covers all the things. It could be road, rail, airways, or waterways. Any type of cargo services and courier charges are being covered in this specific thing. Sir, we can put the poll questions here.
Yeah. 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Yeah.
So Mr. A, who is registered in Telangana, had asked Mr. B to transport the material from factory in Bangalore, which is in Karnataka, to Hyderabad. So in this case, what is the place of supply?
There are 70 participants here today and only 30 have answered. Request others also to try, sir. Vamshi has taken a lot of pains to prepare the questions, segregate it topic wise and all.
Rather, it should be said even you are taking a lot of time to
Not
put
a
all this
problem, not a problem. For me, it's a
20,
duty.
25 questions typing and
So it's 1 minute over. I'm just ending the poll. I'm sharing the results.
okay. So majority are saying it is Telangana. So Telangana is correct since the person Mr. A is registered. It should be his place, which should be considered as place of supply, irrespective of the delivery or original of the supply. Sir, you can launch the next question also.
Yeah, I'm doing it. See, request everyone to just read the question because exactly that's what he has said also. X is unregistered here.
X is unregistered and he is located in Telangana. He is asking Mr. B to transport the material from factory in Bangalore to Hyderabad. So only thing which has changed from previous question to this question is in previous question the recipient is registered. In this question recipient is not registered.
And that makes the entire difference. 45 seconds, I'm just stopping the polling. Thank you, 40 people who have answered, and these are the results for you.
Yes, sir. So here majority said Karnataka, so which is actually true. And for those who had put it as Telangana, since the location of since the recipient is unregistered, we have to take the place at which the goods are handed over for their transportation. So goods are handed over at a factory in Bangalore for their further transportation to Hyderabad. So place of supply should be considered as Bangalore, which is Karnataka. It's not Telangana. So recipient location doesn't matter here.
Yeah, and a comment from Kesava C, sir. He says it's quite interesting as the goods will be under IGST, but the transportation is CGST, SGST.
Yes,
In
sir.
earlier case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possible.
So I'm
So
just
when I just want to add one more thing here. So whatever the person has mentioned, I'm sorry. So in that specific case, what we have to see, if the goods are being supplied by a person and transportation is being done by a different person, then only you deal with place of supply as a two independent transactions. If the same person who is supplying goods is also doing the transportation, then place of supply should go in accordance with the place of supply related to goods, because it is a composite supply where the principal supply will be the supply of goods and place of supply related to that principal supply should only be applied. So all these things will apply only if there is an independent transaction of transportation for which you are looking for a place of supply. If it is a composite transaction where supply of goods as well as transportation is being done along with supply of goods, then in such cases only place of supply related to goods will be applicable. Nothing related to this will be applicable in that case. Okay. Yeah. Let us get into the next thing. Sir, any other comments for that?
no other questions. In fact, Keshavan sir has also talked about composite supply. I think we can.
Yes. Sir.
Thanks for recollecting. Thank you.
And transportation of passenger. So here also it says if the recipient is a registered person, then location of such recipient. If the recipient is an unregistered person, it says location at which such passenger embarks on the conveyance for the continuous journey. Okay, wherever he embarks, in simple terms, wherever he gets into that vehicle or flight or whatever, wherever he gets into that conveyance for his continuous journey, that will be treated as the place of supply. So for this, there is an exception again. If the right to passage is given for a future date, so and place of embarkation is not known. When do we need the place of embarkation? Only for the B2C cases. So that means this exception is related to B2C only. For B2B, it continues to be location of that registered person in all the cases. So what does this exception say? If the right to passage is given for future date, then and the place of embarkation is not known at the time of giving that right, then we should follow the general rule. What does the general rule say? For it is only for B2C cases. If you have address of the recipient in your records, follow that address. If you don't have that address of recipient, you consider your own location as the place of supply also. Location of supplier should be treated as place of supply. So that is the exception provided here. This exception is applicable only for future transactions. What is this future dated transactions and all? So nowadays, most of the cases, this voucher sale is happening. Now they say pay for 2000 and get vouchers for 2500. So it is even Make My Trip or other people are also sending these emails. So if we pay now, we'll be able to book the tickets later, or we'll be able to travel later from whichever the place to whichever the place we want. It could be some restricted places or it could be any place. So in now they are selling that thing. Now they'll be liable to pay GST, but they don't know from where I'll be getting into the passage for my travel. So in all those cases, they say if they know my address, they have to consider my place as the place of supply. If they don't know my address, they have to consider their own place as the place of supply. And further explanation, the return journey should be treated as a separate journey, even if the right to passage for onward and return journey are issued at the same time. So why is this relevant? Return journey, separate journey, all these things. Because they say in the this is also again relevant in this B2C category, location at which such passenger embarks on the conveyance for a continuous journey. So again, this continuous journey is also defined in our law. It says like he doesn't come out of the passage, entire right for that travel is given at a single point of time, going, coming back, everything. So in B2C cases, it is saying if he is coming back, that return journey should be treated as a separate journey. We should not treat it as a continuous journey. So I am going to Delhi today and arguing a case and coming back tomorrow. I book a round trip ticket. So when I book a round trip ticket, they are saying onward journey and return journey. If I am a registered person, my place will be the place of supply. If I am an unregistered person, my onward and return journey should be split and should be treated separately. For my onward journey, wherever I am getting into the passage, for my onward journey should be treated as a place of supply. Again, when I am coming back, wherever I am getting into, wherever I am starting for my return journey, that should be treated as a place of supply. Then you may say, what is this continuous journey relevant for? So the passage may take a halt in between and we may further travel. It could be a connecting flight or it has a stop in between, stopover, all those things. So in all these cases, it should be continuous journey definition guides us which you have to take as a continuous journey and which you should not consider as a break of that journey. So summarizing it in a simple way again, if the transportation of passenger is related to a registered person, you are not concerned with any of other things written over here. Location of that registered person should be considered. If at all it is to a unregistered person, B2C, then take the location from where he is entering into the bus or flight or whatever, wherever he embarks into the passage, that should be considered as the place of supply. And further, these two are the exceptions and explanations, which says for future date, you see if you have the address. If you don't have the address, consider your own place and all these things. So with this, let us start our questions.
Final Paul.
Yes, sir. Mr. A registered in Telangana. Registered person is booking a ticket from Bangalore to Hyderabad. So he is registered in Telangana but booking from Bangalore to Hyderabad. But the boarding point he has given as Kurnool. So 3 states are involved here: Karnataka, AP, and Hyderabad, Telangana.
Okay, I'm ending the polling and I'm sharing the results also. Yeah, 38 Telangana, 1% said Karnataka, 3 said Andhra Pradesh, and no proportionate. Here, because the A is registered in TS, so Telangana should stay.
Yes, sir, exactly. Since the person is registered in Telangana, you don't have to look at any other thing. He is registered in Telangana, just go for that Telangana as place of supply. You don't have to consider any other thing.
I'm going to next question.
Yes, sir.
Here, the difference is A is unregistered.
Yeah. So in the previous question, A was registered. In the present question, the A is unregistered, traveling from Bangalore to Telangana, but boarding the bus in AP.
Again, the answer is on the screen. Yeah, 45 seconds. I'm stopping it. Okay. And I'm just sharing the results.
So 81% Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Telangana are also there. See, since the person is unregistered, we have to see the place where he is embarking into the passage. So he is getting a boarding point I have mentioned as Kurnool, so which is in AP. So since he is embarking into the passage from AP, that AP should be considered as the place of supply. Okay, neither Telangana nor Karnataka, and not a proportion also. It should be AP, the place from where he is embarking into the bus. Okay. Yes, sir. Emirates registered in Mumbai, supplier has cancelled Mumbai to Dubai bookings of Mr. X, and the X is unregistered, who is located in Hyderabad. So cancellation is due to COVID-19. They have issued coupons for future travel. So now whatever this future travel is there, for that, what should be the place of supply?
I'm stopping the poll.
So the recipient is unregistered, and the question is related to the future travel. And since it is mentioned that recipient, like unregistered recipient, is located in Hyderabad, so that recipient's location should be considered. So few had written as Mumbai, and few has written as not covered under this provision. So Mumbai should not be, like, since the recipient's location is available, it is mentioned as located in Hyderabad, it should be Telangana, not Mumbai.
I'm going to next question.
Yes, sir. Mr. A, unregistered in Telangana, is booking two-way tickets from Hyderabad to Telangana, Telangana to Chennai. So round trip ticket he is booking. So in that,
Telangana to Tamil Nadu, Tamil Nadu to Telangana. You can say.
yes, sir. How the place of supply should be taken? since he is going from Telangana or Chennai.
Yeah, I'm ending the polling.
So majority has put Hyderabad for onward and Chennai for return. Exactly. So since the person is unregistered, is specifically covered in this explanation, the return journey should be treated as a separate journey. So once it becomes a separate journey, location at which the passenger embarks for first onward journey will be a Hyderabad, and for return journey it will be Chennai. So that should be the answer. So I'm continuing to the next topic.
Yes.
Then supply of services on board a conveyance. On board a conveyance means while you're traveling, it could be flight, bus or train. So on board a conveyance, you have availed any services. For all those services, the place of supply should be first scheduled point of departure of that conveyance. So place of embarkation or destination, all these things are not relevant here, or whether you are registered person, unregistered person, that also doesn't matter. It just says location of the first scheduled point of departure of that conveyance for that journey should be treated as the place of supply. So this covers all the food and beverages, whatever you example it is, whatever you buy on board a conveyance. If at all you are buying something like maybe a meal, sometimes the ticket booking includes the meal price. Okay, or we may opt for the meal at the time of booking the ticket directly. So all those cases will not be covered here. If something you are purchasing on board a conveyance, only that thing will be covered here, and for that place of supply will be the first scheduled point of departure. In simple terms, from wherever that bus or train or flight is starting, the first scheduled point of departure should be taken as the place of supply. If the train is moving from Hyderabad to Delhi and you are having some, you have ordered some food for from this IRCTC, so they are supplying you the food on board a train. So for that particular thing, place of supply should be Hyderabad, irrespective of the fact whether the food has been uh, taken into the train in between Nagpur or Madhya Pradesh or anywhere else. That doesn't matter. First scheduled point of departure is Hyderabad. So Hyderabad should be considered as place of supply, irrespective of the fact where the food is boarded into the train, where the uh, food is supplied to the passenger. So all those things does not matter. Wherever it is started from, only that should be treated as the first schedule point, place of supply. Okay. So, sir, we can start questions for this.
Yeah, I already done.
Sorry, sir. I think we have one question in the Q&A.
No, I'll just finish the polling and can I take up the questions?
Okay, sir. Okay. Maybe the question is relevant to this explanation. That's
Okay, I just after this I'll take that. Okay.
While traveling from Delhi to US, Mr. A has ordered a meal. So whether it should be Delhi or outside India or not covered in this.
Yeah, I think very unanimously it's going. So I'll stop the polling. And sorry, one we got outside India, and only I hope he or she has not done it by mistake. Okay, but as
It could be by mistake, sir.
Could be by mistake. Anyhow, this is how we all start learning, and not covered under the provision also is there. One.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. But I'd still thank you for answering, because only when you answer, you are into the game. Okay. So when you are into the game, you learn how the game is going. So definitely you'll understand, you'll take more interest in the question. That's what matters. I'm going to next poll. Acha, one question I think we will just take up these questions after this, quickly after the polls. No, just 1 second. I'll go to poll only. Then.
The above example, Delhi to US, he has ordered on board. Now he has not ordered on board, but while booking the ticket itself, he has booked a meal. So what will be the place of supply for that transaction?
Yeah, I'll stop the poll because Manindra is also waiting. So. Yeah. 11 people still feel Telangana and 3 people still feel not covered. Manindra, you're there, na?
Yes, sir.
Manindra.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please. You can just switch on the video so people will get confidence seeing your face while answering.
Sir, we can just answer this poll related
Yeah,
thing.
and then
I'll
we
explain.
can, because that's why only after Manindra will take. Okay, so anything you want to explain here?
I mean, there is one question by one of the part Q&A in the Q&A, like they're asking some
Just
something
there are
like
two questions of poll because I want you as not sure because I want you to be there because it might just give you the frame of mind of the people because you are a very regular speaker, so you'll understand the frame of mind and you can also sum up because this our person has done. Vamshi has done a great job, frankly, and the way he has brought the poll and all, it has really made it interesting. So just there are two questions remain. So I'll quickly do it. You can understand just how people are thinking, where answers are not going, and then you take up the questions and then you sum it up. So that way, what happens is I can gain from your experience also.
Sir, this poll is whatever the question you have posed is for the next topic, sir.
Okay, so in fact that came as a question number 21.
Yes, sir. 21 is for this telecom and next.
So shall we just? I'll stop the polling. Okay, leave it. So now, because it's already 6:45, shall we just? How much more time, Jitendra? I think we'll go to questions.
Yes, sir. I'll just take 5 minutes to like cover the remaining topic.
one more slide, sir, of Vamshi. So let him finish that.
Sure.
Yeah. So then banking and other financial services. So here also in banking, other financial services, including stockbroking, they say location of recipient as per the records of the supplier. So whatever the location, like address you are providing to them, as per that location, they should treat it as a place of supply. If at all your location is not available in their records, then their location only they will treat as the place of supply. This is applicable banks, financial institutions, stockbroking things, all those things. A simple one. And the next thing, insurance services. Here, simple rule again: if the person is registered, recipient is registered, take his location. If the recipient is not registered, whichever the location available, whichever as per your records, that recipient's location you consider a place of supply. And in location of recipient, the residuary clause again says if you don't have any other options, you consider your place as location of recipient. So ideally, if there is no other location, it will go to location of supplier again. And telecom, broadcasting, internet, etc. So this this one particular thing I will be skipping since it is like too huge to cover in a minute or so. Then advertisement services. So this advertisement service only specific to the services provided to central government or state government. So only in those cases this rule should be applied. If the recipient is not a government category, then this rule need not be applied. It will go to general category B2B and B2C. So here again, what are the proportion thing we were keep on discussing all the time. So that proportion thing will only come if the advertisement agreement covers multiple states, then each of such states should be considered as a place of supply in proportion to the what are the value as per the agreement. You have to arrive value for each state and consider place of supply. And if it is not covered in any of these 12 provisions, then the residuary rule which I have mentioned in the beginning, if it is applied to the registered person, location of such person. If it is not supplied to the registered person, location of recipient as per records. If the recipient's location is not available, then location of supplier. Just to sum up this thing, out of 12 supplies, almost these 6 supplies says if the recipient is registered, that recipient's place of business should be taken. If the recipient is not registered, they say different things. And the immobile property, we are straight away performance based. We know directly. So it will be pretty easy to remember all these services if you have only this one slide. So this will be shared later. We can take up question and answers now.
Yeah, Maninder, you're there. So what? How shall we do? Shall I just take up the questions and then you want to summarize it later?
Sir, I mean, before taking up the questions, I just I want to talk about 2 points, sir. So
Yeah, please.
yeah, first thing is like we have section 12 as far as domestic supplies is concerned, and we have section 13 as far as the cross-border supplies are concerned. That is where one of them supplier or recipient is outside India. Like in our country's legislation, if you see, I mean, GST is like globally followed by various countries. In fact, OECD also has given guidelines like what should be the ideal principles relating to place of supply in the year 2017 also. Like most countries follow the concept called B2B and B2C as far as categorizing the supply of services, like the place of supply of services. If you see in our country, interestingly, section 12, what Vamshi has covered. So in this section, we have that distinction. If you see some of the supplies, like training and all those events and all those things, we have a separate category of determination as per if the recipient is registered, and similarly if the recipient is not registered, we have a separate specification. But whereas in case of cross-border services, we have not followed this kind of system. We have considered all both registered and non-registered persons alike, and it was not the distinction or the differentiation was not done between B2B and B2C. Okay, this could be challenging because certain services, in case of section 13, like certain services could be subjected to tax in both the countries, which could be a challenge. So this distinction, because when you are understanding section 13, which might be going to be dealt by tomorrow's speaker, so this is one thing. Then coming to the place of supply, on we have, even in case of section 12 also, especially in case of immovable property related services and services like personal grooming, fitness, catering services and all, this distinction was not followed. Even if a service is done to a B2B person also, the place of supply is still the place where the service is performed, if it is of personal grooming or catering services and all. And in case of immovable property, as you all know, the location of the immovable property, this is creating some sort of distortion as far as the claiming of credits are concerned. We have lot of issues coming up, especially people who are working in border states, like the vendors and all will frequently be located in, like we'll be procuring more number of services from vendors who are in the other state, and this is causing some kind of disruption as far as the claiming of credits are concerned. So this is one thing that we have to be very careful as far as advising the clients are concerned. Like to say we have a client who is in the Chittoor district of Andhra Pradesh, who is doing works contract services, and most of the times he procures services from people who are located in Chennai. What is going to happen is that if he is doing some work which is in AP, the people who are coming into AP and carrying out the work, the client is sometimes the client is losing the credit if he is not able to plan the transaction properly because of these distortious immutable property related rules are concerned. So these things are required to be kept and also if you see personal grooming services also, let us take a case where a film production company is hiring a grooming consultant and the shooting may take place in multiple locations, and if you see the list of supply has been made based on the performance category. So service could be performed in several states also. Sometimes the shooting may continuously go for in some other state and the performance may happen in that state, but neither of them would be in that state. Again, we may lose credit. So this aspect, I mean, it's going to be litigative also. And I believe in one case relating to, there was one petition filed in one case in case of by a tour operator. I'm sorry, I'm unable to recollect any that judgment which is pending before the Delhi High Court also on this issue. So the point is like, I mean, we have to remember the rules and we should carefully see before advising the client in such a way not to lose the credit. This is the whole point that we have to keep in mind. So that's all, sir. And I believe that Vamsi has done a fabulous job by framing all the queries nicely and with his way of presentation. Even if someone has lost it while he is presenting also, and by the time when they have answered the questions, again, I mean, people have recollected or again they got the concept in a clarity way. So thank you, Vamshi. It was wonderful listening to you, and I wish many sessions in the coming times for ICA and for other forums as well. Sir, over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I'll just take one question which by mistake I put it in answered, so it may not be available to you. It's from Siddharth Mantri. Any online training provided to unregistered recipients, place of supply is where the place where supplier is providing service from. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I think he just wanted confirmation. And I have one open question from Shivkumar Chetupalli. Location of the supplier and place of the supply is outside India. Then what could be the GST implication? So both are outside India.
Manager, sir.
Location of supplier and place of supply is outside India, then what could be the GST implications? In this case, there is no tax implication as such because both of them are outside the Indian tax jurisdiction. So there won't be any tax implication, and this would be covered in one of the exemption entries also in section in notification 12. So notification 12 also covers this situation.
Vamshi, stop sharing the screen. I think I understand journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So I can tell you journey of your 1,000 presentations has started with this one presentation. You can just
this quote I had put like many of the people had started learning GST with this webinar workshop. So maybe this would lead to there.
That's why I told you, no. Just start sharing because I have to
both
do
participants as well as the speakers.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Just in that same top, you'll see. Yeah, thank you. And because I had to share screen. Look, Vamshi, let me tell you frankly, what had happened was I was very tired yesterday and as half sleepy when the session started. But after listening to you and after started following your poll questions and all, suddenly I don't know where the sleep has gone and I got terrific interest. In fact, this is one way of learning where our present learned speakers can also do it when the audience is like us. Okay, the way you have generated the interest in subject, you have told the crux of it, then started putting the questions, allowed us to answer, allowed us to think about it, and then again you started answering why it is that is the wrong answer. In fact, that way, I think the way chats are coming, many people have liked it. So maybe speakers from tomorrow onwards can also just take up this hint. And earlier, I wanted to tell you, ki, boss, don't use too many poll questions. I have to come 1 hour before and type. But I changed back my words. Please give, I'm ready to type, because if the learning happens so well with the poll questions, then I think my 1 hour typing should not matter. I'm glad to do it. So the future speakers who are here can share the poll questions. So Vamshi, again, you know that it's a COVID time, and sorry, this is the first I'll go with Maninder. Okay, Maninder, you are here. We missed you that day. So it's a small thank you note from branch to you. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Maninder, it's small thank you note
Yes,
to
sir,
you.
yes, sir.
Thank you for being with us, and thank you for sharing your views. We are extremely grateful to you. Afterwards, I'll just get it done. Okay. And similarly,
Yes, sir.
Vamshi, this is for you. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not giving you at the moment, but believe me, this will be framed and handed over to you once things normalize. Whether my committee stays or not, this will come to you. Don't worry. So I think today session will be remembered by many of us for a long time with the way you created excellent interest. Hats off to you, Vamshi. Great job. And I'm sure down the line you'll come back as an excellent speaker. So on behalf of SRC, Hyderabad branch of SRC of ICA, I sincerely thank Manidhar for providing that support to Vamshi, Vamshi for doing the excellent hard work and presenting us the today's session. Satish Raf, the program director, for selecting you, Vamshi, and guiding you. Definitely, he also deserves a big hand in all these things. In a way, we are very happy that we are getting speakers who are showing that TK, the senior speakers won't have to be burdened everywhere. Their presence will make a lot of young speakers come and speak. This is a good sign which is happening. I thank each and every participant. 70 we started with, 68 was till we answered the last question. That's excellent thing, Vamshi, keeping up the audience. No one should tell you whether you did good or bad. When people stay in your presentation, that's the best thing. So thank you each and everyone. We'll see you
As you
all.
mentioned, even I just want to thank you, Satish sir, for giving opportunity, and Manindarana for guiding and to the presentation. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Tomorrow we'll again meet at 2:50. I will be opening fast because I have to type the questions, but request all others to join at 2:50 so that we can start the program at sharp 3. Thank you. Thank you all. I'm signing off. Thank you. Thank you, Manidhar.